In honor of me skipping out on The House at the End of the Street 2012 that just came out in theaters this weekend, I feel like it might just be another generic PG-13 horror film. I decided to watch Don't Go in the House, filmed in 1979, released in 1980. It's similar to Psycho, When a Stranger Calls, the original, and Maniac. It's kind of like a combination of all those. So I'd recommend it for fans of those movies. It's not a haunted house film. I never really knew much about this. I always kept on putting it off. Then I finally got to see it. Basically, it jacks the Psycho concept of a kid who was tormented by his mother and controlled by his mother his whole life. And it starts off in the opening scene. He comes home and she's dead. So he's already paranoid schizophrenic to begin with, that has hallucinations. Wow. And that's how it plays out. So basically, he never got revenge on his mother, so he takes it out on women. And the rest of the movie is him going on the prowl and luring women back to his mom's house that don't go in the house. And the house isn't that memorable. The imagery isn't that amazing. Only one shot, maybe in the opening, is the best shot of the house. Half the time he's just out on the town scoping like a real serial killer would, I'd guess. Like you'd see on like the crime drama shows, or I mean like ID, 48 Hours, like real serial killer on the hunt going for. It felt kind of realistic in that way. And also I'd recommend it for late 70s, like there's a whole disco scene. If you like movies in the late 70s and like that kind of culture, I'd recommend it for that also. So yeah, it's not a haunted house film. And then most of the movie is just the main character named Donald tripping in his own psychosis, basically. And it got deemed a video nasty in most countries. Apparently it's still banned in countries, they say, for the opening brutal death scene. It almost can't even be considered a slasher movie because there is like no slashing, no slasher, no gore killings. It plays out like When a Stranger Calls. You know how he goes on the run and on the prowl for girls for most of that movie in the original? That's basically exactly how it plays out. They film it kind of like that type of movie instead of like it filming like a horror movie. But there is the prop of his dead mother that's staying up there along with the dead women that he's been killing. That's the only real horror effects that you could get. It could almost be deemed a torture porn film. But I gotta love the disco scene. Every movie filmed in the late 70s pretty much had to have that disco vibe or disco culture injected into the script. And this one has an extended one. And then out of nowhere he goes crazy in it too. And he ends up trying to burn in, almost disfiguring one of the bitches there. He's using a flamethrower with a beehive suit on. So, yeah, I'd recommend it for disco fans, fans of Psycho, When a Stranger Calls, Maniac. I'm going to give it a C- grade. This was JBM from VillainNews, Villain Radio, and Mr. Creepshow 9. Those are my horror YouTube channels. Check them out. Leave me a comment. Send me a message if you want to. I'm out.